My name's Tom Rothwell. I've been in the tech industry for about 15 years now, and I work at a company called GCA. It's a bit of a brand new acronym, so it's called Gumtree Cars Guide Auto Trader, and we've been acquired recently by a big company called the Market Herald. They're based in Perth, a little less known company, I should say. Technology I've kind of just been raised with my entire life. The early 90s I grew up with a little Mac computer and I was quite fascinated with that, took it to pieces and tried to understand how things worked. Didn't know how it worked at all, so that was a complete failure, but it sparked a bit of curiosity. And from there, Mum got a computer for work, and I was able to use it for some video games. And it started from pinball, which came with Windows, so very basic video games, and then we got dial-up and moved into things like StarCraft and Diablo, and yeah, that's kind of how I just moved into the technology world and stayed fascinated. I really then wanted to understand how these games were developed and how I could get into that kind of industry. So I started to research and fiddle around with a few programming languages. Didn't really lead too far. That was during my high school era, and after that I went to years 11 and 12, studied a bit of software design and development, and then went into TAFE and actually did some games development. I soon found out that it's a very tough industry within Australia to get into, and that's where I pivoted a little bit more to the web development side of things, and kind of fast forward another 15 years or so, and then here I am today. Not everyone knows that their path. So most people, they'll go, okay, I just want to be a pure developer and stay at that. So you can hit a senior dev and you can maybe do a little bit of management via moving into a technical lead position. After that, it's kind of really capped. You can move into maybe specializing architecting and all that kind of things. But yeah, I'd say it's really capped. So you gotta really understand, do I want to move into managerial and people management versus just management of some developers within my team. So I was kind of pushed into the opportunity to move up, more so than wanting to, and I just found that I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed communicating with people, and of all different areas. So it's not just going to be your team, your developers, it's going to be other stakeholders in other areas of the business, from AdOps to QA to DevOps. So being able to communicate with all of these people from all of these key areas, I found came quite naturally for me. So it seemed fitting for me to move into that kind of role. Yeah, good question. It's night and day, really. It's startups. This can change. There's various levels of startups, but I've had experience working in the startup industry where you're working day and night, eating ramen noodles because you can't afford anything else, or 2-minute noodles, and you're doing literally every single job. So that's going from your server infrastructure setup to your development to your QA, liaising with your business partners. You're doing a lot, which is great, and you get a lot of experience from that. Highly recommend it. Just don't do it for too long. Or if you can enter those unicorn status startups like Canva, even better. That gives you a really, really good set of foundations and skills that then you can apply to and move quickly through the rest of the industry. So compare that against, say, a corporate world that I'm currently in, and very high trafficked as well. We've got dedicated teams and silos that support all those entities of the business that I kind of referred to before. So you've got a QA team, you've got a DevOps team, you've got a front end or mobile development team, and you can refer to their expertise in order to produce higher quality content and feature sets. And I think as well you start to develop better processes, so things you don't have as much downtime on your website, you've got systems in place to actually support that, alerts to come in, you're not going to be always the single point of failure or the single point person to be reacting to something when something goes wrong. From a security aspect, it's a major thing, right? Especially now we're seeing all these exploits and hacks. Latitude Finance, for example, is the most recent one. We're seeing all these things kind of occurring, so you've got to be on top of the game. Luckily, there's big businesses out there that dedicate themselves to this kind of stuff. So these businesses are like Akamai, major player. So they offer things from CDN hosting to web application firewalls to prevent DDoSing and hacking and all that kind of stuff. Reblaze is another popular one as well. They take a lot of the heavy lifting away. Obviously they come with a price, but it means you've got a set of experts behind it that you can rely on and assist you if something is potentially going on or wrong. Again, just kind of reiterating the security being a major issue. You've got just recently AI has become a massive thing, and now people are actually using their confidential data that's owned by the company, putting into applications like ChatGPT, and now that's out there in the wild, and that's used as now a model to train this other application. So there's this whole InfoSec thing that people have to be very conscious about when they're dealing with data that's not owned by them. And on top of that, ChatGPT was just actually able to find exploits in software that it was put up against. It was actually a blockchain contract within Ethereum, so it found some exploits that were unknown. So I think AI, up and coming, very interesting on how we can be potentially harnessing this for looking at exploits within our application. We just got to be very careful where that data goes to. So there's a set of measures in place. No one's going to ever have 24/7 uptime. It's just not impossible. Even the big players like Google, AWS, Amazon, they have outages. Reddit just recently had a major outage, right? So it does happen, and you just got to have a set of plans in place for to be reactive. We've got automated systems in place that monitor all our applications, and we have thresholds set up so we get alerts, and we work off a PagerDuty system, so it's kind of week on, week off per person, and that's basically how we stay on top of it. And so you just got to be reactive, use your team. When something happens, you don't know the answer to it, you call up your teammate, they come in, help investigate, help triage, and then you do a bit of a retrospective after it to understand what went wrong and how you can do better in the future.